Bermuda Triangle. The Bermuda Triangle is a stretch of Atlantic Ocean often drawn between Miami, Bermuda, and San Juan, Puerto Rico. It covers a large, busy area of sea, and for decades it has carried a scary name. The legend grew in the mid-1900s, after writers began grouping separate accidents into one mystery and calling it the Bermuda Triangle. The most famous story happened on December 5, 1945. 5 U.S. Navy Avenger bombers left Fort Lauderdale for a training flight. The unit, known as Flight 19, reported navigation trouble and confusing compass readings. Radio contact faded, and the planes were never found. A rescue aircraft sent to search also vanished, which made the story even bigger. Since then, people have pointed to many disappearances in the region, often with little debris found. Some theories jump to aliens or lost civilizations. Others focus on normal dangers at sea: sudden storms, human mistakes, equipment problems, rogue waves, and waterspouts. Strong currents like the Gulf Stream can also scatter debris quickly and make searches harder. Scientists and agencies say the area does not show a higher loss rate than other heavily traveled ocean routes. The real mystery may be how ordinary ocean risks, plus fear and storytelling, created one of the world's most famous modern legends. Today, GPS, radar, and better forecasts help crews avoid trouble, so truly unexplained cases are very rare now. Nazca Lines. Across Peru's Nazca Desert, hundreds of huge drawings are etched into the ground. There are long straight lines, big geometric shapes, and more than 70 animal and plant figures, including the hummingbird and the monkey. Many are so large that they are easiest to recognize from the air, though some can also be seen from nearby hills. Most scholars date the Nazca Lines to roughly 500 BC to 500 AD. The makers created them by scraping away the dark, iron, oxide pebbles on the surface to reveal lighter soil underneath, forming sharp contrast. Because the desert is extremely dry, with little rain, wind, or erosion, many lines stayed visible for centuries. Why were they made? There is no single proven answer. Some researchers think certain lines connect to water and ritual paths, and others explored possible links to the sun and seasons. Maria Raish became famous for arguing the lines worked like a giant sky calendar, though many experts say the evidence is mixed. The alien runway idea is popular in pop culture, but there is no evidence for that. What is real is Nazca engineering. Nearby are ancient underground water systems called puquios, and many were still in use into the 21st century. Today the biggest danger is damage from people, vehicles, and development, so protection and careful access matter. Easter Island. Easter Island, also called Rapa Nui, sits about 2,300 miles west of Chile, one of the most remote inhabited islands on Earth. Europeans first recorded it on April 5, 1722, when Dutch explorer Jacob Roggeveen arrived on Easter Sunday. Between about 1000 and the 1600s, the Rapa Nui people carved around 887 moai statues, mostly from volcanic rock at the Reno-Raraku quarry. The tallest moai ever set upright, called Paro, was about 33 feet tall and weighed about 82 tons. Some unfinished statues in the quarry are much larger. How they moved the moai is still debated, but experiments show a statue can be moved by teams using ropes to rock it side to side, like it is walking. Many moai were placed on stone platforms, and they were linked to ancestors and community power and protection. Many statues once had pukao, red stone topknots, and some had white coral eyes with dark pupils added during ceremonies to make them feel alive. Later, many moai were toppled during conflict, and the island's society suffered heavy stress. Researchers point to deforestation, rats harming tree regrowth, and later disease and slave raids after European contact. The Rongorongo script remains undeciphered. Stonehenge. Stonehenge stands on Salisbury Plain in southern England. It is a ring of huge sarsen stones with 5 larger stone doorways inside called trilithons. Some of these stones weigh up to about 50 tons, and many were shaped and fitted with careful stone joints. Building happened in stages over a very long time. The earliest work, around 3000 BC, included a circular ditch and early burial activity. Later, bluestones were brought from western Wales roughly 140 miles away, before the biggest sarsen circle was raised around 2500 BC. Stonehenge is famous for its sky alignment. The main entrance lines up with the summer solstice sunrise and the winter solstice sunset, looking past the heel stone and along the avenue. Some people claim the 56 Aubrey holes were used to track the moon and predict eclipses. But many researchers say that idea is not reliable and does not fit the way the site was built over different periods. Nearby, Durrington Walls appears linked to the builder's world, with evidence of big feasts, especially pigs. Today, Stonehenge is best seen as many things over time. A place for ceremony, community gathering, and memory, built by ordinary people doing an extraordinary job together. Darvaza Gas Crater. In Turkmenistan's Karakum Desert, near the village of Darvaza, there is a burning gas crater often called the Door to Hell. It is roughly 60 to 70 meters wide and about 30 meters deep, and it has been burning for decades. The popular story says Soviet-era drilling opened a natural gas pocket, the ground collapsed, and engineers set the gas on fire to stop harmful fumes from spreading. But Turkmenistan has no clear public record of the original accident, and some details are disputed. At night, the crater glows orange and you can see flames across the crater floor, with heat shimmer rising into the air. It became a famous travel stop, but access is controlled and most visits require organized permits and guides. For years, leaders talked about whether to shut it down because it wastes gas and affects the environment. In January 2022, Turkmenistan's then President Gurbanguly Bermuda said the fire should be extinguished and ordered work to find a solution. Even so, putting it out is not simple. The fire is fed by underground gas, and experts have discussed methods like drilling nearby wells to reduce the flow. Recent reporting says the flames have reduced compared to earlier years. But the crater is still burning. Blood Falls. Blood Falls is a strange red seep on Taylor Glacier in Antarctica's McMurdo Dry Valleys. It was first recorded in 1911 by geologist Thomas Griffith Taylor. For a long time, people guessed the red color came from algae. But scientists later showed the color comes from iron-rich salty water. When that water reaches open air, the iron reacts with oxygen and turns red, like rust. The source is hypersaline brine trapped under the glacier beneath hundreds of meters of ice. Because it is so salty, it can stay liquid at very cold temperatures and can slowly push its way out through cracks. What makes it even more important is the life inside. The brine is low in oxygen, yet it contains microbes that survive by using unusual chemical reactions involving iron and sulfur compounds. This is one reason Blood Falls is studied as an example of life in extreme places. Researchers also use Blood Falls as a hint for what life might look like in places like Mars or icy moons, where it is dark, cold, and salty under the surface. Area 51. Area 51 is a highly secret U.S. test site in the Nevada desert, inside the Nevada Test and Training Range at Groom Lake. It sits roughly 80 miles from Las Vegas, and its secrecy is a big reason it became a magnet for rumors. The site was set up in 1955 for the CIA's U-2 spy plane testing program. That work was so classified that even early test flights were treated like a hidden war project. To move workers in and out, the government has long used special commuter flights from Las Vegas, often called Janet flights. Over time, these flights became part of the Area 51 mystery because the planes and schedules are not advertised like normal airlines. In later decades, Area 51 became linked to advanced aircraft testing. Official releases and histories confirm secret aircraft programs tied to the base, and many UFO sightings can be explained by unusual-looking planes, high-altitude flights, and strange cloud effects that people did not understand at the time. In 2019, Area 51 went viral again because of the Storm Area 51 meme. More than 1 million people clicked going or interested online, but only about 150 showed up at the gates, and most people treated it like a joke festival weekend. Today, Area 51 remains closed to the public, heavily guarded, and surrounded by strict restricted zones. No solid public evidence supports alien claims, but the real story is still impressive. It's a place where the U.S. tested aircraft years ahead of what the public knew existed. Yonaguni Monument. Off Japan's Yonaguni Island, divers found a strange rock formation underwater in 1986. A local diver named Kiichiro Aratake noticed big flat surfaces and step-like edges at about 25 to 30 meters deep. The structure looks very geometric. It has wide terraces, sharp corners, and long straight edges, so some people think it was cut or shaped by humans. Marine geologist Masaki Kimura is the best-known supporter of the man-made idea. He has argued that it could be a ruined monument from a time when sea levels were lower. Many geologists disagree. They say the rock is sandstone with natural layers and cracks. In places like this, the stone can split along straight lines, and earthquakes can create clean angles. Geologist Robert Schoch has said it is mostly natural, though he has also suggested small parts could have been used or slightly shaped later. A key point in the debate is evidence. No clear tools, pottery, or carved objects have been found at the site that prove people built it. Because of that, major Japanese agencies do not treat it as a confirmed ancient monument. So Yonaguni remains a mystery. People argue about either a rare natural rock formation that looks man-made, or a real human structure now underwater. Sailing stones of Death Valley. In California's Death Valley, there is a flat dry lakebed called Racetrack Playa. On this smooth mud, heavy rocks, some as much as 700 pounds, leave long trails behind them, as if they moved on their own. Some tracks stretch hundreds of feet, and some even make sharp turns. For decades, nobody saw the rocks move, so the mystery grew. People suggested strong winds, strange magnetism, or even jokes about aliens. But the real answer turned out to be much simpler and much rarer. When the playa gets a thin layer of water after a rain, and the temperature drops at night, the water can freeze into a thin sheet of ice. In the morning, sunlight warms the surface and the ice begins to break into large floating panels. If there is a light breeze, those ice panels slowly slide across the shallow water. Some rocks get pushed by the moving ice, and they glide along the soft mud at a slow walking pace or slower. In 2014, researchers finally captured this on camera. They recorded ice panels gently pushing rocks and leaving clear trails behind them. The rocks moved only when the conditions were perfect. A nearly level surface, just enough water, freezing nights, warmer days, and steady light wind. Those perfect conditions might happen only once every few years, which is why the movement was almost never seen. Today, some rocks are tracked, and visitors are asked to stay on paths to protect the fragile surface. Hoia Baciu Forest. Hoia Baciu Forest sits just outside Cluj-Napoca in Romania. It covers about 295 hectares, and it is a normal recreation forest by day. But it is also famous for legends that refuse to die. At the center of the stories is a round clearing where people say nothing grows. Locals have long shared rumors about strange feelings, confusion, and fear inside the woods. Some visitors claim their phones and compasses act oddly, and some say they feel sick or watched at night. These reports are popular, but they are not proven by strong scientific evidence. The forest gained international attention in 1968, when a man named Emil Barnia took a photograph of something he described as a UFO above the clearing. The picture spread widely and helped build the forest's reputation as a paranormal hotspot. Skeptics say the fear can be explained by normal causes. Dense forests can play tricks with light and sound, and wind can create low vibrations that make people uneasy and disoriented. In other words, the forest may not be bending physics, it may be bending the mind. Today, Hoia Baciu lives in the space between nature and legend. Whether you see it as haunted or just hyped, it remains one of Europe's most famous mystery forests. Thank you for watching. To support the creation of more videos like this, please like this video, subscribe, and leave a comment suggesting a topic for our next video. Thanks again, and goodbye.